Well, hey guys, Big A coming to you this morning from the station Camp Greenway. Hope you're having a great day. It is beautiful here this morning. The humidity is low. I hope it's going to be an amazing day where you're at as well. Hey guys, tell me every single time I start coaching them, hey, I just want to be successful. And I start right out of the gate saying this very thing. Hey, do you want to do whatever it takes to be successful? Or do you just want to do the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week method? And they're like, no, man, I'll do it. I'll get in there. I'll crush it. Well, I've been coaching now for about 7 or 8 years. I've had the privilege of coaching men all over the world. And there's a handful of guys that are willing to take that attitude. They're willing to take whatever they've got to do and go crush it. And I just want to know, are you that guy? Are you willing to do whatever it takes in order to be successful? Now, let me say this. Never, ever sacrifice your health, or never sacrifice your faith, or never sacrifice your family. Never sacrifice those things. But there's some things that you've got to do in order to be successful. I was so fired up this week. I called my friend and mentor, Dan Miller. Dan's recently moved to Florida, and we were talking, and he answered the phone the same way that he always answers the phone, just with this excitement in the air. And I said, Dan, what are you doing now? And he said, man, let me roll out my plan. Let me tell you what I'm doing. Dan's in his 70s. He hasn't kicked the retirement thing into gear. He says, I'll never probably retire because I love what I do. I think I had the benefit of being in the Eagles group for a dozen years with Dave Ramsey and Dan Miller and Ken Abraham and Ron Doyle and some of those guys. They've always got a strategy. They've always got a plan. They're always willing to do the hard work. And I want to ask you, are you willing to do the hard work? I had a guy call me this week, and he wanted to buy the Mastermind playbook, the tool that we've designed to help you grow masterminds and scale them. And he said, hey, this is a great plan. I know it's going to be amazing. And before I buy it, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. He said, I don't really want to do the work. He said, I just want to get the facilitators and let them do the work. And I started laughing. I was like, hey, that's not the way it works. There's a certain amount of work that you've got to put into it. People started training me and coaching me when I started into the mastermind industry and when I started coaching, and they said, are you willing to do the work? Because it's going to be hard. You've got to do all these blogs, and to date we've written hundreds, probably thousands of blogs. They said you've got to get on podcasts and you've got to do these interviews. And a lot of these strategic guys would say, hey, you've got to get on this genre. You've got to get in this vertical, and this is the only podcast you can be on, and you need to very specifically, go after this particular. Listen, you don't know who's on those podcasts. Listen, if you can fog a mirror and you've got a microphone, I'll be your guest. That's why I've done over 2,000 podcast interviews, and they continue to give me clients week after week, month after month. Listen, you got to get in your zone of genius. You've got to get in that lane to where you say, hey, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do the plan. I'm going to focus on the things that I know I need to do in order to be successful. That's why these guys that I'm around all the time are successful. They have a plan. They adhere to the plan. They don't chase the shiny object syndrome. That will get you in trouble. All these new diets, these fad diets, do this, fast this long, get on this. Hey, do what works for you. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. It's the same thing I tell people in business. You've got to do what works for you. And people tell me all the time, even today, you can't keep up that pace. You can't keep writing that many blogs, doing those Alexa briefs, doing these Facebook Lives. Listen, I've got about 6 things that I do regularly, and they work. Are there other things that would work? Absolutely. Thousands of them. There's so many things out there that would work. But people are not consistent today because they're not willing to do what it takes for an extended period of time to build that momentum, to get up that group of people that are following you in your tribe. And you're like, hey, I coached a guy recently and I said, hey, this is what you need to do. And he did it for about 6 weeks. And then the shiny object syndrome came along and he picked up something else and he started doing that. Listen, I want to tell you guys right now, you've got to stay in it for a period of time. You just saw that guy that passed me just running on the trail. He wins every marathon that he runs in. And you're like, how do you know that? Because he's an icon in this community. You know how come he wins all the marathons that he runs? He runs 6 miles every morning, and he goes to work, and he goes home and puts on his running clothes, and he runs 6 miles in the afternoon. And you're like, I'm not willing to do that. Well, then you're not going to win every marathon race that is out there locally. He's traveling now and he's winning those as well because he's willing to put in the reps. He's willing to do the hard work. I get so tired of people saying, I want to make all this money and I want to be successful, but you're not willing to do the work. I want to encourage you today to get in your lane of genius. What is it that's going to move the needle for you? What is it that you're going to be able to do? Put blinders on and say, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Same way with losing weight. I decided 3 weeks ago I was going to lose 25 pounds. Listen, and you got to say, I'm going to stick to the plan. This is the regimen. This is what I'm not going to eat. This is what I am going to eat. Doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you really want to do that, then you have to stick to the plan. Listen, I've got a little saying that I say all the time. Nothing tastes as good as thin feels. And that keeps me motivated. I'm like, hey, I like the way thin feels. And so nothing, that brownie, that hamburger, those French fries, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. I don't know what it is for you, but if you're willing to do the hard work, get the mindset that you're going to do it. Set your goals on what is important to you. Why is that thing the thing that's most important to you? And stick to your plan. Get people around you to hold you accountable. The truth is we don't want to do the work in order to be successful. Man, I follow sports. I love NFL football. And I follow the sports, and you look at people like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and Tom Brady. You look at those greats in their industry. They don't say, hey, I just don't think I'll go to the gym today. I think I'll go down to Five Guys and eat this ginormous hamburger and run by a marble slab and get me a little ice cream on the way home. They wouldn't be the greats if they did that. They've got to have this regimen, this routine, because the bigger goal is what is their objective. They want to be great. They want to be good. Angela Duckworth talks about in her TED Talk the component that is the most prevalent in all these successful people. You know what it is? Grit. It's not IQ. It's not academia. It's grit. That's what's important. It comes from deep within here. It's in your heart. It's in the pit of your stomach. You want that thing. And people ask me all the time, Big A, how have you been able to grow these masterminds? How have you been able to grow these other businesses? Because I want it bad enough. I'm willing to put in the reps. I'm willing to put in the work, and I don't get distracted by the shiny object syndrome. You've got to have it yourself if you really want it. So I just ask you today, is it worth it? Is that thing worth it to you? Hey, think through it. You want to be successful, and you can be successful. I promise you, you can be successful. If you'll just determine your why, you'll get it in your mind that you can be successful, and you'll develop a strategy and a plan by which you can accomplish that. Do the Brian Moran 12-week year. We're about to do an exercise in our mastermind groups called Come As You Will Be in 2023. We're going to lay out a very succinct plan, very methodical. We're going to lay it out. And you know what's going to happen? We're going to be successful as a result of it. Hey, think through it today. Think through what it is that you want. Get out there and do the work. Stick to your plan. Get accountability partners. And you too can have a great amount of success and significance as we go through this thing we call life. We'll see you.